Okay, so in this spiced up version of a La Paloma, we're gonna be using the Opuntia Prickly Pear Brandy in place of tequila. We're gonna be using East Imperial Grapefruit Soda, which has a really nice mild sweetness and a very fresh grapefruit flavor. And then we're again using the jelly, the Ojai Jalapeño jelly, for a really nice consistent level of spice. Fresh lime will kind of be the acid for this. And the whole idea with this cocktail is to dress up a classic. You can go to a bar, you go to a restaurant, you get something you've had 1,000 times at home, and it's just a little bit better. And it's because of 1 or 2 extra steps. You know, if you're making pasta at home, you can crack open a jar of sauce, pour it over pasta, and it'll be pretty good. You go to a restaurant, maybe it's a little bit more exceptional. Why? They sauteed a little bit of fresh garlic, they sauteed some fresh onion, then they incorporated that into a sauce, and it added some dynamic levels of flavor. It's the same thing with cocktails. Very few bars in this day and age are gonna be making a Paloma by just dumping soda and tequila together. They're gonna look for 1 or 2 ways to elevate that by creating a base that's more dynamic, more flavorful, and is gonna lead to a much more kind of complex version of a classic. So in order to kind of gain that complexity today, we're gonna make sure that we're using fresh lime. If you're using citrus, 1 extra step that you can always take, and if you've been on for any of the other kits, you've seen this before, just give the citrus a little bit of a roll, and that's gonna help get a little bit more juice out of it. We're gonna cut that along the meridian. And we're just gonna juice that right into here. I'm gonna do a couple of these because I wanna get a full ounce of juice, because we're gonna make 2 of these at a time. And by making 2 of these at a time, it's just gonna help it blend a little better. Now, blended drinks, if you ask most bartenders, they're gonna kind of roll their eyes at blended drinks. A lot of my favorite bars will joke that the blender's always broken. This is not a blended drink. We're simply using the blender to incorporate the jelly in the most effective way possible. If you don't have a blender at home, it's fine. You're just gonna have to get your shake on pretty good. But if you do have a blender at home, that's gonna really allow that jelly to get fully incorporated. So we're gonna make 2 at a time, because that's gonna give the blender more of an opportunity to kind of grab all those components. So we're gonna start, for a single, it would be a 1/2 ounce, but since we're making 2, we're gonna use 1 full ounce of fresh lime juice. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get that into the blender. And then we're gonna get our jelly. I'm gonna measure this in a slightly wider jigger because it's gonna be easier to get out. If you don't have a jigger at home to measure your ounces and your 1/2 ounces, don't worry about it. 1 tablespoon is 1/2 ounce. And since we're doubling this recipe, we would use 2 tablespoons. In my case, I happen to have this nice, wide 1 ounce jigger. And so I'm just gonna scoop the jelly into that. Get it kind of nice and level there. And then into the blender that goes. Perfect. And then the Opuntia. We're gonna use 3 ounces of Opuntia. Again, I have a jigger. If you don't, that would be 6 tablespoons if you're playing along at home. So I got 1.5 ounces there, and another 1.5 ounces there. And that's my 3 ounces of Opuntia Prickly Pear Brandy. And we're just gonna blend this for about 20 to 30 seconds until you see that all of that jelly has kind of broken up and is fully incorporated with the brandy and the lime juice. All right, now while that was blending, I went ahead and iced up a couple of glasses. And this is now the base of our cocktail. So this is all those dynamic flavors, the the onion and garlic to the tomato sauce. So fresh lime, jalapeno jelly. Now if you were at a bar and they had a spicy version of a margarita or a Paloma, they might infuse their spirit with the jalapeno. They might make a simple syrup using some kind of spice. In this case, the jelly is what's allowing us to do so consistently. One of the scariest things about trying to make spicy cocktails for the public is that not every jalapeno is as spicy as the next. So using something that's pre-made with a dependable level of spice allows you to make sure you're making that cocktail in a way that's not gonna burn somebody's face. So we're gonna split this between the two glasses. And then we're gonna go in and top with the grapefruit soda. Recipe card calls for about 3.5 ounces. Obviously, we don't all have the same glasses at home. Might be a little bit more, a little bit less. If you don't want too strong a drink, a bigger glass with more ice will keep it a little tamer. If you like a stronger drink, a smaller glass with a little bit less ice will work really nicely as well. I'm gonna give it just a quick stir. Now you can garnish a Paloma in a number of different ways. You might use a grapefruit. Since we're really focusing on the nice fresh limes, we're just gonna cut some nice thin lime wheels, and we can get those right on top. And cheers. Hope you enjoy.